This evening, entrepreneurship meets eco-friendly innovation at Green Tech Start Boot Camp. AFC hosts press conference. Ministry of Public Infrastructure finishes road study and rehabilitation. One professor says his calling is to lead others down the path to enlightenment. In the region, in Belize, Foreign Affairs Minister weighs impact of proposed road connecting the nation with Guatemala. And internationally, in Spain, at least 13 killed in terror attack in Barcelona.
From Safe TV headquarters in South Ramville Gardens, this is Safe TV Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel, as well as our website, ch2headlinenews.com. Join us. Several topics were discussed during today's press conference hosted by the Alliance for Change, but much of today's discourse centered around the contract with ExxonMobil. Here's more. Years of government corruption, a weak judiciary, and corporate misconduct has aroused a certain level of distrust for large corporations in the minds of many Guyanese. It is for these reasons why some commentators and members of the public have recently expressed much trepidation towards the government's contract with ExxonMobil. Coalition member Party Alliance for Change addressed these concerns in a press conference held today. Minister of Business Dominic Gaskin believes that the government is capable of dealing lawfully and fairly with such a large multinational such as Exxon.
And we could have, as they put it, done a lot worse. And I take comfort from that because I know we could have done a lot worse. I've seen us do a lot worse. So we know what we've just come out of with the number of companies that were operating here with huge forestry concessions and so I know we could have done a lot worse. So I don't know why we're agonizing over doing business with a large international company.
On a few occasions, ExxonMobil has outright ignored legal rulings in nations where it operates. These incidents have led to U.S. congressional hearings and other forms of scrutiny. This public scrutiny is seen as a good thing to Minister of Public Security and head of the Alliance for Change, Kemraj Ramjatan. Despite the company's size, he is more confident in his government's ability to hold Exxon accountable than any other multinational corporations that have operated in Guyana in the past.
Because there are some other countries whose international companies do not suffer that kind of scrutiny. And that is why when we are dealing with international companies, yes, there are international companies that come from other territories who can do all kinds of things. When they go back home, their countries celebrate them. But we know about what happens in that democracy. They will call them in, even the great Rex Tillerson, who headed the company. Please come here, and then he go through scrutiny. And that's the kind of company we would prefer.
On the flip side, Minister of Public Telecommunications Catherine Hughes addressed the fears of corruption fueled by oil revenues.
The assumption that we are pushing out there every day is that we got problems, this government is weak, and all the oil money gonna get teeth. And we're not, there's no guarantee. There's no real suggestion at this point in time that upholds that argument. Absolutely nothing. And therefore there's a certain amount of objectivity, I think, that needs to come to the table.
Minister Gaskin echoes Minister Hughes' sentiments of the government, more specifically, his party's ability to resist temptation.
As a government, we can assure you that we are not going to be the ones taking money from anybody to do anything underhanded. We're not, I can speak for us here, we are not bribable. So you can put that in tomorrow's papers. Yeah. Right? That's right. We are not bribable. All EFC executives. Yes. Speaking for all our EFC executives, we are not bribable.
Much of the initial excitement over the discovery of oil has given way to the typical level of pessimism that is commonplace in Guyana. Minister Hughes argues that the conversation regarding fears of what could go wrong should be tempered with the understanding that the nation must prepare in a practical way for the national impact of the emerging oil and gas sector.
That is an aspect of the discussion that needs to take place on an equal level with our fears. All I'm saying, I'm not saying that the fears are not realistic and not possible, but all I'm saying is let us also look at how this nation is going to benefit from this.
Some concerns regarding the contract stem from the fact that the government has not released the contract to the public. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson gives the assurance that it is not due to any malfeasance or to hide secret clauses. Rather, the government is restricted by a non-disclosure clause. Nonetheless, he declares that he has nothing to hide.
Right? Even though the contract says that I can't release it, I would give the commitment, I'm sure always to me. If you ask me a question on the contract, we'll answer it honestly.
Non-disclosure clauses are a common aspect of many corporate contracts. While it restricts the release of the contract, Minister Patterson alluded that it is possible to challenge it in the future. It should be noted that the AFC heads 3 of the most relevant ministries to the emerging oil and gas sector, the Ministries of Natural Resources, Business, and Public Infrastructure. With this in mind, talks of Guyana's oil future may soon become a staple of the Alliance for Change's future press conferences. The Caribbean Climate Innovation Center Green Tech Start Bootcamp is up and running. It's about starting your own business while going green. Those wishing to receive information on tips for setting up new businesses, or if you just need a few helpful pointers, you can hurry down to the Tower Suites and register. Wendell Jeffrey took a look at their first day's session and filed this report.
If I had my way, I would have probably referred to today as a survival session. I mean, green, sustainability, they're all fancy terms, and we recognize them as though they're areas that we need to pay significant attention to.
That was Mr. Ramesh Prasad, the CEO of the lending institution IPID, speaking at the opening of the event that was hosted by the Caribbean Climate Innovation Center at the launch of the Green Tech Initiative. George, going green was one of the catchphrases of the forum, which was held yesterday at the Tower Suites, which is formerly Hotel Tower.
Here they are. 1, what's the problem? As we mentioned, you can term it the pain of the customer. 2, what's your solution to the problem? And 3, how are you going to make money? What's the business model surrounding your solution?
That was Mr. Travis Bartley, the Business Support Officer for Caribbean Climate Initiative Center, CCIC. Several companies have signed on to the CCIC's initiative. One such company is the Guyana National Shipping Corporation. Marketing manager Rene Chester said that his company is very interested in going green.
Okay, Mr. Chester, so tell us, why have you guys come on board with the CCIC project?
Well, we just wanted to position our company. Our company is definitely big on going green. Of course, you know that Guyana has made some bold steps to put policies in place that sensitize a lot of persons about the benefits of going green. And as a company, Guyana National Shipping Corporation, we wanted to support this initiative.
The project manager of CCIC, Carlington Barnell, touted the position that his organization holds across the Caribbean.
Well, CCIC is the leading institution in the Caribbean, which pretty much helping to grow and scale medium and small enterprises across the region within the climate green space.
He said that Guyana was chosen because the CCIC has confidence that Guyana has great potential.
Why Guyana? Because Guyana is next on the list, next on the stop. We know there are lots of brilliant entrepreneurs here, a lot of, on top, talent that needs to be exploited, that needs to be explored here in Guyana, because there are so many brilliant minds which we think, we can help to export some of these ideas, some of these projects that they're working on. So we're here to give them the business education to help them to grow and to develop, to formulate their ideas, to start materializing their ideas so that one day they can start generating revenue for their ideas.
Mr. Barrett said that they have been traversing the Caribbean selling the idea that we must go green, and also assisting entrepreneurs with business ideas and access to funding.
So, to date we have done 7 stops in the Caribbean. We have done Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia, Belize, in recent times Dominica. Now we're here in Guyana. Next on the stop is St. Kitts and Nevis. What we're expecting, it's important that we have solidify our footprint in the Caribbean in terms of our entrepreneurs and how we are facilitating them.
Janelle Christian from the Office of Climate Change, out of the Office of the Presidency, said that the Guyana government is very interested in climate change because of Guyana's susceptibility to the changing weather patterns.
In Guyana, we are known to be at risk, seriously, to the impacts of climate change. Many folks are more familiar with the challenges that we face on the coast regarding flooding, intense rainfall, but conversely, in the hinterland, we also experience extreme drought situation.
The sky is the limit as it pertains to the areas that could provide potential entrepreneurial avenues for investors. Here again is Janelle Christian.
People who are now getting going can now think about how do we provide solutions to these challenges that we're seeing. Some of them that we already experienced and some that we are likely to experience. And so we need to change the traditional way that we would have done things, even when we look at energy efficiency, when we look at waste management, when we look at the life cycle process for the waste stream. So what was once considered waste can now be used for input for another area. When we look at some of the services, the technical vocational skills, services that homeowners will have, because now everyone is installing PVs. There will be need for maintenance, there will be need for installation, there will be need for what do we do with the batteries when they're done, even what do we do with the lights that we're changing out. So yes, there are huge opportunities.
For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. Coming up after the break, Minister Patterson has good news for drivers, and one professor seeks to enlighten others.
Mining Week 2017 ends on a high note with Pork Knock a Day on August 26 at the Bay Rock Ground, Wismar, Linden from 9 hours under the theme Mining Clean, Living Green. Enjoy the competitions and get the experience while battling, shoveling, jigging, Tacuba crossing, Warashi race and more. We will meet you at the Bay Rock Ground in Wismar, Linden, a gateway to the interior, on Saturday, August 26 from 9 hours for an educational and fun-filled Pork Knock a Day 2017 and the chance to win a diamond. It's Mining Week 2017, August 20th to 27th under the theme Mining Clean, Living Green.
John Lewis Styles proudly introduces Everest Bags, a complete and affordable line especially suited for back to school. Lunch bags from $3,500, backpacks from $4,500, pulley backpacks from $10,995. Also available are messenger bags, computer bags, waist pouches, duffel bags, gym bags, and even camping bags, all for the same price or less than buying online. And it's already here on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
My thoughts, well, for me, internet has changed the world, and Blaze has changed the internet here in Guyana one more time. I mean, long are the days where you have to wait for your favorite TV show to be on at 8 o'clock on a Friday or a Saturday night. This day and age, it's about downloading it, streaming it, and watching it at your convenience. And Blaze for us gives us the opportunity now to watch our favorite shows from England, from America, Caribbean, you know, when we want it, how we want it.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's for dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Hungry? Don't rush and buy food from an unsafe environment. The results could be tummy ache, vomiting, diarrhea, and sometimes hospitalization. Instead, stop, look around, ask yourself, how safe is the food you are about to buy? Is it hot? If it is hot, is it stored in a food warmer or on a stove? Is it cold and on ice? How long was it prepared? Since the night before? Early morning or less than 2 hours? This just takes a few seconds and it can save you time, money, and lots of ache. Temperature plays an important part when storing food. Food must be kept piping hot. When food is finished cooking, the hot food must be placed in a food warmer and not a box or bowl for over 2 hours. It must be protected from dust, insects, rodents, and dirt. These precautions are vital because bacteria grow by multiplying. If food is stored in the danger zone between 5 to 60 degrees Celsius, bacteria can double every 20 minutes, causing food to spoil. The correct holding temperature is below 5 degrees Celsius and higher than 60 degrees Celsius. This means keep cold food cold, place it on ice or in a freezer, and keep hot food hot. Place it in a warmer or on a stove. This way, the growth of bacteria is slowed or stopped. Children, the elderly, people who are pregnant or have a weak immune system are at a higher risk of getting food poisoning. Start practicing correct food handling and storing today. Cook, hot hold, reheat, chill. Don't buy food from an unsafe environment because you can be a victim of food poisoning.
How safe is your food? Are you sure about it?
A message from the Government Analyst Food and Drug Department.
For more info, call telephone numbers 222-8857 or 222-8859.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson has good news for drivers throughout Guyana.
And it's dealing with the transportation network inside of Georgetown. Obviously, and it has things to do with public bus routes, one-way systems, public transportation, implementation, regularization of public transportation. It touches a bit on parking meters and those things like that, you know what I mean, but not as extensively as the City Council zone. It does talks on things on cargo, heavy cargo and those things. So when it's finished, I mean, obviously it will be available to the public, but it should allow us to have a better idea and put in better policies to deal primarily with urban transportation, which is the municipalities. So it should be interesting to discuss with other persons.
Residents and commuters in Georgetown could soon have reason to rejoice as the Sustainable Urban Transportation Study will soon come to a close. According to Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson, the goal of the study is to come up with an answer to Georgetown's traffic problems. Minister Patterson explains.
The stretch that was causing the problem, the Hunter stretch, that has been quickly that has been rehabilitated and everything like that. So everything is minibuses, cargo, fuel trucks, everything has been are applying the route freely unhindered now.
The draft of the IDB-funded project has already been submitted and will be up for public consultation within the next 4 to 6 weeks. The Ministry of Public Infrastructure has also completed remedial works to the Linden-Lethem Road.
We're doing the first phase right now. The tender's closed for the design of that, the Linden to Mabura, and then obviously we proceed on Mabura to Kubukari to Anai, and Anai to Lethem. So it's 4 phases, right? So we're trying to, we have funding for phase 1 at the moment, and we look seriously trying to get funding for the rest of the road. And when that's completed, this should no longer be a problem.
An especially long and wet rainy season had caused many sections of the road to become unpassable. Unfortunately, travelers will still have to contend with the laterite roads as the ministry is still seeking funds for the paving of the Mabura Hill to Lethem segment of the road. Ever so often, someone comes along and embraces their calling in life, a calling to help chart a path for others to follow. Dr. Ethan Simon sees his calling as one of facilitating the enlightenment of others. After many years of studies and many sacrificial commitments, this son of the soil just wants to help his fellow travelers along this road of life. Wendell Jeffrey sat down with the professor and gleaned from him the following.
A teacher. A simple teacher.
That's right, George. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. That's how Dr. Ethan Simon sees himself, not as a guru, not as a sage, prophet, priest, or prelate, but as a thinker, a simple teacher. However, Dr. Simon is on a mission.
Here's a path that I am about to embark on, which is a new path. And not so much a new path. When I said new path, it's a new idea, and that is called the path of the source.
The Guyanese-born intellectual has traveled extensively. He said he has been to some 48 countries and has studied widely, mainly with the intention of understanding human behavior.
And I take the time to conduct further research here on the behavior of human beings, not just human beings in Guyana. My greater task is to understand human being globally.
He said that his studies have driven him to unequivocally conclude that human beings have, for the most part, lost their way. In fact, he even argues that many, or most, have never even known the way.
When I look at knowledge, we have to have something to compare what we have. And if we don't have something to compare, then we can't measure. So if we don't have a yardstick to measure what is taking place in our lives or in the world, then we're actually lost. Is to look at life in its entirety. Now when I look at life in its entirety, I see 2 things. I see symptoms and I see cause. And for me, everything that exists has a cause. But when we look at life on the surface, we see that the symptoms is what is playing out all the time. So we are actually operating on a symptomatic frequency most of the time.
He said that life is about traveling along certain pre-established or predetermined path. There is a path of love which Jesus took.
And he called his path the path of love. So we have a path of love.
Then there's the path of peace and nonviolence, a path that both Gandhi Ji and Martin Luther took.
And he embraced the path of peace and nonviolence. So now we have three choices now. We have the path of aggression, we have the path of love, and now we have the path of peace and nonviolence. Then you have Martin Luther King came along, and he widened on these paths.
The scholar said that there is also another path. It's called a path of aggression. This, he says, is a dangerous and deadly path, a path that does not take lightly to competition.
So this path of aggression, which we have found ourselves on, it is so intense. It's like a magnet. Very, very powerful. It's been around for a long, long time. So it needs no competition. So anytime there's a new path that is established, you're going to have a situation.
And that situation, George, is death. Dr. Simon says that the opposers on the path of aggression are known to kill those who seek out other, more enlightened paths. He said that the path he is seeking is a path to the source. It is an advanced awareness of one's self.
When we talk about paths, we're talking about human being taking a conscious effort to operate, fully identify with certain concepts and beliefs that we carry with us all the time as we walk the face of the earth.
Dr. Simon is affiliated with the University for Peace Studies on Sheriff Street. For Channel 2 Headline News, I am Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. Still ahead, we have our regional news, international news, and the weather. Around town and beyond? Look no further than Oasis Ride Taxi Service. With affordable prices and some of the best drivers in the business, we've been delivering prompt and reliable service to Guyana for over 16 years. We also offer tours, chauffeur service, and even car rentals. You can call us at 231-5554 or 225-5496. For deals, specials, and more information, find our page on Facebook. Oasis Ride Taxi Service. Let's go.
The Guyana Geology and Mines Commission presents Mining Week 2017, August 20th to 26th under the theme Mining Clean, Living Green, with pre-Mining Week playoffs on August 5th, Port Kaituma, August 12th, Madhya and Puruni, August 13th, Ansgrove, and August 19th at Bartica. The National Mining and Quarrying Conference and National Mining Exhibition, August 21st and 22nd at the Pegasus Hotel. August 23rd is Customer Appreciation Day at GGMC Headquarters, Brickdam, Georgetown. Activities end with Pork Knockers Day at Bay Rock Ground, Wisma on August 26th. It's Mining Week 2017, August 20th to 26th under the theme Mining Clean, Living Green.
John Lewis Styles proudly introduces Everest Bags, a complete and affordable line especially suited for back to school. Lunch bags from $3,500, backpacks from $4,500, pulley backpacks from $10,995. Also available are messenger bags, computer bags, waist pouches, duffel bags, gym bags, and even camping bags, all for the same price or less than buying online. And it's already here on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles, simply different.
In news from the region now, in Belize, while Guyana mulls over the construction of a 4-lane road that connects it to its neighbors, Belize is doing the same. Foreign Affairs Minister Wilfred Elrington weighs the benefits. Channel 5 Belize gives us that story.
Whatever helps enhance their road infrastructure has a very important up to Mexico from Guatemala. So it brings more traffic to Belize. That, of course, brings both benefits and burdens. So it's something that we need to be apprised of and see how we could benefit from it. I think the benefits certainly would outweigh the negatives, and I think that we need to position ourselves to benefit from it when it happens.
Do you think this is as part of their strategy in relation to the entire Belize Guatemala dispute? If the matter goes to the ICJ, they will be able to say, well, we now are building our own road, the very road on which the territorial dispute is hinged on, to use that to their benefit.
That's a continuous mistake. I am always very deeply saddened and distressed by the absence of knowledge on the part of the Belizean public in relation to the Belize Guatemala issue. We have to go to the ICJ because we have to define our borders. That's the biggest problem. If maritime borders were never defined, never demarcated, never agreed upon, and the western border, we have conflict on that. That is why we have to go to the ICJ. It has nothing to do with the building of a road. As a matter of fact, the whole issue of the building of the road, Clause 7 under the 1859 treaty, was regarded by the British as a non-issue. That's a non-issue. So whether they build it or not is not of any moment. It's not going to affect in any way the litigation which we have. That's a non-issue. It has no real bearing on the issue. Why we have to go to ICJ is that we don't have borders that are internationally recognized.
And internationally, police in Barcelona say they have arrested one person in connection to an attack that killed at least 13 people and injured dozens more after a van plowed into a crowd of pedestrians. CNN's Evan Perez reports.
Well, Brooke, we have an important update now from the Catalan police on their official Twitter page. They're now saying officially that there is one man arrested. They don't identify that person who has been arrested. And they also say, very importantly, that there is no hostage situation. There are no other attackers holed up in a bar. We've heard this now from some of the eyewitnesses. We've heard this from local media in Barcelona. The concern was that perhaps one or more attackers had fled the scene and was able to get into a bar or a restaurant nearby and was holding hostages. And that's one reason why, out of an abundance of caution, the police were preventing people from exiting some of the nearby establishments, some of the nearby restaurants there. As you know, that's a very popular area. But we now have the clarification from the official clarification from the police there in Catalonia, and they say that there is nobody being held hostage. There are no suspects being holed up in a restaurant or bar there in the center of Barcelona, and that they have indeed arrested one man. They don't identify that person. The local media have shown pictures and have given the name of that person. I got to tell you.
And now for the weather report.